Are we live? Are we live? Welcome to another edition of Just My Opinion podcast, episode 48. How y'all living? I'm living swell. Hope everyone's having a lovely, productive Tuesday morning. And we got a new episode, fresh hot baked, here at the Just My Opinion studios. And we're going to be talking about Kyrie Irving, particularly game one, the Brooklyn Nets versus the Boston Celtics. And going into that matchup and going into that game, I felt like there were moments where the Brooklyn Nets could have taken over. And I also felt like watching that game, I felt like there were moments where the Brooklyn Nets were not extremely focused as far as taking the game over. Now, offensively, I have no issues offensively. A lot of people want to point out the shot selection. A lot of people felt like uh, Kevin Durant should have done more, should have attacked the basket, and I understand all that. Hindsight being 2020, and the game's over with. Everyone wants to be an armchair quarterback and say, well, they should have done this, they should have done that. KD should have uh, KD should have been more. He should have attacked the basket. He should have had the ball more. Kyrie Irving could have done this. Kyrie Irving could have done that. What about Ben Simmons? Ben Simmons, if he was at least 70 or 80% healthy, he could have helped and contribute uh, to get the team a W. A 70% Ben Simmons is better than no Ben Simmons. I understand where everybody is, any game, doesn't matter what sport you're talking about, but particularly professional sports, we all want to armchair quarterback this and say, I would have done this, or I would have said that, this, that, and the third. And I understand all that. But I felt like, me personally, if you had to take something away from the game, that you felt like if this would not have happened, maybe the outcome would have been different. And I'm saying maybe, all right? I felt like Kyrie Irving, how he handled the situation with the Boston Celtics fans, how animated he was on the sidelines as well as on the court, responding to the fans. I feel like if you take anything away from that one game and how ultimately it may affect the series, I feel like that moment right there points out to they have to overcome that. Okay, I felt like Kyrie Irving, and I understand where Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal was very critical of Kyrie Irving, particularly how he handled the matter, and they're basically saying that he should man up and just go in, just be a professional, just go in with blinders on, and not blinders necessarily, with earmuffs on, and just not pay attention to the fans. But I felt like there were moments in that game where the fans got the best. They uh, got Kyrie Irving off balance a little bit. I think Kyrie Irving was focusing way too much on what fans actually say. A lot of people saying, well, we're in a new era where, fans should just buy their tickets. If they want to be critical of a team or a player, they should be an adult about it. They should be, I'm pretty sure all these fans that go to these games, they have jobs and careers, and you don't just go to your job and your career. And if you're displeased with where the corporation is, what decisions your corporation where you work at is going to do, you're not going to stand on your desk or and yell and shout and say the boss is an N word or the C word or this, that, and the third, because there are parameters in place. You can't just act a full donkey at your job, because not only you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose your reputation, and you're going to lose a bit of your freedom if the corporation want to prosecute you and have you walking out of your job place or your corporation in handcuffs. So that's why you should go to these games just like you go anywhere else. You're not going to go in the middle of downtown and just pick a random stranger and curse out the random stranger and just be done with it and just go back into your car and don't think there's no repercussions that's going to happen. No consequences and repercussions are going to happen. You have better sense. You're smarter than that. You're bigger than that. You know that, particularly in this day in this era, there are a lot of people out there that would do anything above anything, and they feel like you're disrespecting them. Some people will, if you're lucky, will fight you, but most people would just shoot you. Even if it's justified or unjustified, people are willing to risk their own freedom over the fact that you dissed them or you disrespected them. So you should have that same type of awareness when you enter these games. And I know why a lot of fans really, go as far as calling an NBA player the N word or the C word, or just talking about the player's family member or children or this, that, and the third. I know why fans do that, because they're, what's the worst thing that player is going to do? What's the worst thing that's going to happen to you? You might get kicked out of the game. Okay, that's the worst thing you can do, but at least you got your point across, and this, that, and the third. So I feel like fans should watch what they say, and you should go into these games or these events or these arenas like you go in anywhere else. You should know there are consequences and repercussions, and you're better than that. It's time to grow up and be an adult. However, with Kyrie Irving, on the other hand, and I saw a lot of videos, read a lot of articles. I even listened to Kyrie Irving's interview after the game, and I really did not see nothing, heard of nothing egregious what they said to Kyrie Irving. Now, a lot of people point out to the Boston Celtics history, how they treat their Boston Celtic players, most notably African American players. Bill Russell came out with a book, and he talked about how the Boston Celtic fan base treated him in the beginning. And if you listen to Paul Pierce, he echoed those same sentiments in the beginning, and how the racial tension is at an all-time high in Boston. And these players went through a lot of stuff, and a lot of things were said about those players. A lot of things were said about those players' families and things of that nature. But Bill Russell and Paul Pierce, in their playing years, were constant professionals. And I understand a lot of people want to point that narrative out. And I feel like it, the reason why there's tension between the Boston fans and Kyrie Irving, if you want to point that out, fine. You can whatever percent you want to do, but I don't think it's the ultimate percent. I don't think it's 100% on why there's an issue with Kyrie Irving and the Boston community. I feel like uh, that's a factor, but I also feel like there are other factors playing, like when Kyrie Irving demanded to be traded out of Cleveland, was willing to be traded to the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics, traded for Kyrie Irving. The people were talking about uh, the superstar on the rise. Kyrie Irving is going to take the Boston Celtics to the promised land. And it just did not go that way. Not to mention the fact Kyrie Irving told the Boston Celtics community he wanted to be a Celtic for life. And he jumped ship and went to Brooklyn to follow his friend Kevin Durant. And he felt like, well, just saying that and going against his word, everybody will be cool with it. I feel like there are a lot of factors plaguing why there's why the fallout between the Boston Celtic fan base and Kyrie Irving. I don't think there's one exclusive thing. I feel like there are a layer of things why that fan base is very toxic to Kyrie Irving. Not to mention the comments Kyrie Irving has made about the Boston Celtics community. And talked about the past of the Boston Celtics community. I understand all that. Factoring in, I understand all of it. And Kyrie Irving may have a point, but the fans may have a point. But the way how the fans and Kyrie Irving handled this situation is immature. It's childish. And it really doesn't matter who started it first. I mean, we're not in grade school no more, folks. You can't just say, okay, it's Kyrie Irving's fault, or it's the Boston fan base fault, or it's the Boston Celtics organization fault. It's Danny Ainge's fault. Okay, we're not children. We're adults. And when I heard what Kyrie Irving said after the game and talked about how the Boston Celtics fans said a lot of, said a lot of negative, not only negative comments, but basically racial comments as well. Even though, like I said, I told you guys earlier, I read the articles, I saw the videos that I could see, and I didn't, hear anything that relating to what Kyrie Irving said. I'm pretty sure they probably have. Let's just hypothetically say they said all those things. Let's just hypothetically say that they call Kyrie Irving the N-word. Let's just hypothetically say that. Okay. And even though Kyrie Irving got on the stand, I'm talking about like he went to court. When his presser, even though he said not all Boston Celtics fans are idiots and not all Boston Celtic fans disrespected him, he said there's a small select few that went to that extreme. And that's who he's focusing his anger on and his disappointment on. And that's just in every lifestyle, folks. That's in every community. Not all police officers are bad. but there's a small few that are bad. But do we talk about all the good things police officers do? No. We talk about the select few, if you want to call them the select few, only the few that do racial profiling, police brutality, bad officers, just bad police officers, bad human beings. We waste a lot of our time, resources, and energy talking about that. We don't necessarily waste a lot of time and energy on all the good things police officers do. But that's the world we live in. Uh, uh, in entertainment, people want to be fed what they want, and people that like that type of news stories are going to turn on to the 5 p.m. news, the 6 p.m. news, the 10 p.m. news, CNN, whatever, and they're going to get that news. They want to see the police brutality. They want to see uh, officers doing bad things. And no, there's not really a huge audience for officers that do the right thing, that are good officers. Same can be said about doctors and nurses and lawyers, attorneys. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. We live in a world where we're more entertained about the bad news than good news. The bad news gets you ratings. I'm a prime example of it. If you're a YouTube content provider and you want to create a platform about about good people doing extraordinary things, you're not going to get a lot of subscribers and you're not going to get a lot of views. You're not going to hit the algorithm of YouTube. No, the algorithm is meant for popular things. And what's the popular topics? People doing the dumbest things. People, stupidity. People falling. Not people doing, doing a helping hand, helping the homeless, or helping inner city communities. I mean, those types of news, it's just not it just not hit in the algorithm. If you're a YouTube, if you're a content provider on YouTube, you're going to have a hard time getting subscribers and views because you're up against the algorithm. You're up against people that want to subscribe, but they only want to subscribe to the train wreck, the car wrecks. They don't want to. I mean, literally, not literally, but not actual train wrecks, not actual car wrecks, but train wrecks and car wrecks in human society is what people gravitate to. Now, why I said all that? Well, Kyrie Irving is no different than anybody else. We only focus and we only waste our time, resources, and energy on when people are negative to us. We're not concerned about when people do treat us right, respect us, because we look on the outside looking in, we look at that as, okay, well, you're supposed to do that. Now, Kyrie Irving, there may have been, let's just say hypothetically, there were 20,000 fans. And let's just say out of those 20,000 fans, only 2 of them disrespected him. Should we just only focus on the 2 fans? Or should we focus on the majority of the fans? I thought majority rules. If the majority of the fans respected you and treated you like a player that not only had history with the Boston Celtics community, but now he's playing on a team that we have to beat this series is if we want to advance. So are we going to focus on just those 5 or 6 idiots, or are we going to focus on the majority? And I feel like those 5 or 6 idiots, they're going to be there tomorrow, the next game. And guess what? With all of this coverage on social media, on YouTube, on ESPN, TNT, Fox Sports 1, all of this coverage focusing on what 2 or 3 idiots said to you in game 1, now it garnered a lot of attention, and now they're going to multiply like roaches. Those 2 or 6 people that you're focusing your energy, your time, your resources on, now it's going to multiply into 12, into 20. Because that's what everybody's talking about. Not only Kyrie Irving's not the only one, everybody's talking about this. So now those 2 fans, those 2, maybe 6 fans are going to multiply into double digits. Now there's going to be signs out. Now it's going to be fans that's going to really say some. If you didn't like what they said in game 1 to you, Kyrie Irving, just imagine what they're going to say to you in game 2, because they know it bothers you. And if it bothers you, the Brooklyn Nets are not going to get the best version of Kyrie Irving. And it could affect them losing the series. I don't believe in the better team won. Because I feel like if you look at these teams, they're considered equal. There are a lot of things the Boston Celtics as a team does better than Brooklyn, but there are a lot of things that the Brooklyn Nets do that they do better than the Boston Celtics. At the end of the day, they still have 2 superstars. The Boston Celtics have 2 superstars. The Brooklyn Nets have 2 superstars. At the end of the day, but they also have the others. But none of that is going to matter if you neutralize one of the 2 superstars in Brooklyn, because Kyrie Irving is worried about how fans are treating him. And therein lies the problem. And I feel like this is only going to multiply. It's like a snowball going down a snowy hill. It starts off as a small snowball, and as it keeps rolling and rolling and rolling, it turns into an avalanche. And I feel like that's what's going to happen. That's going to be the beginning of the end for the Brooklyn Nets, because, like I said, game 1, Kyrie Irving is concerned about 6 or 8 fans saying something that he didn't like. Just imagine game 2. Now those fans are going to be multiplied in double digits. Here comes the signs. Here comes, if you didn't like what they said in game 1, Kyrie Irving, just wait what they're going to say to you in game 2. Now you got all this media coverage, and now they're pretty much promoting fans to just say anything to get Kyrie Irving off his keister, because they know it's affecting him. And you're going to have fans that are going to be total extremists, and they're going to go into the dark realm. I like how Kyrie Irving says, just take the darkness in with you. Just embrace the darkness. Meaning, these fans are going to say some devilish and evil things. And if you didn't like what they said in game 1, which was light work, Kyrie Irving, what the stuff I saw on video, what the fans said. Now, like I said, I didn't see everything. And the articles I read, if you are offended by that, then you just wait until game 2, when the F-bombs are coming, the N-bombs are coming, the racial slurs and jokes are coming. The signs are coming. I mean, if and Kyrie Irving has a history of negative criticism. Now racial criticism is one thing. Okay. That's something no one should tolerate. Okay. I can understand how that can affect you, and it shouldn't affect you. And we live in a country where it's not allowed. It's not accepted. Okay. I can get that point. But Kyrie Irving does have a history and a tendency of, if anyone is critical of him, it affects his play. And there's been games documenting this. Kyrie Irving, treats himself like a painter, like an artist, like an artiste. Like, he's extremely talented, he's extremely gifted, and he wants to be respected in those same realms as a sculptor or an artist or an artiste or a musician, like he's at an opera. Okay. And he wants the world to dictate to Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is not going to dictate to the world. And those are two different types of people, folks. Those are two different types of people. It's like, do you want to walk into the world as a wolf, or you want to walk into the world as sheep? And right now, Kyrie Irving is teetering on the borderlines of, am I a wolf or am I a sheep? Sometimes this does reap of manhood, of being an alpha, of, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words would never hurt me. And that's what Kyrie Irving is going to have to he's going to have to channel his inner alpha and just go into the game just knowing that people are going to say a lot of nasty and naughty things about you. They're going to talk about you. Kyrie Irving's one of those guys, like, I know a lot of people never heard of this terminology, the dozens. I know a lot of you guys, that's old school to a lot of you guys. And what the dozens is when you're in the lunchroom, you're in the lunchroom at school, and this is when you're a teenager or middle school or whatever, you play the dozens. And what the dozens is, we just joke on each other. Okay, we just break jokes into each other. We talk about mamas and cars and houses and are you on welfare and stuff. There's no limit to what someone's going to say in the dozens. Now, there is a line you don't cross. If someone's parents are deceased, you don't go there with it. Okay. But, I have I have been in a lot of lunchroom tables where when the dozens happen, if you don't have thick skin, you're not going to make it through the first joke. You're just simply not going to make it through the first joke. You have to really have thick skin and be able to, have a joke or to be able to talk about somebody else. If you're not able to talk about somebody else, if you're not clever, if you don't have thick skin, you're not going to make it through the dozens. And Kyrie Irving reminds me of one of those guys that likes to be around the lunchroom table as an audience, listening to guys doing the dozens, but he's not the guy that wants to be in the center table doing the dozens. So he wants to be entertained by being around the lunchroom table, watching other people getting joked on. But immediately when someone starts joking on him, oh, he's not that guy. Hey, don't talk about me. Don't talk about my mom. Okay. Don't talk about we are on welfare. Okay. So he likes to be entertained, but he doesn't want to be part of the entertainment. And that's who Kyrie Irving reminds me of. Kyrie Irving, this is do or die for Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is going to have thick skin. Do not, do not anticipate. Well, do not uh, keep the crowd going by throwing your hands up in the air, doing the middle finger salute, reacting to the fans, throwing F-bombs and things like that nature. You just go in, have thick skin, play your best game, and get the W, and just say, I'm looking for game 3. You don't talk about what the fans said. You don't interact with the fans. You don't embrace what the fans say. You don't joke or any of that stuff. You just say, I'm just ready for game 3. If the Brooklyn Nets get a W in game 2, after the game, you should tell the media, because the media is going to try to pump you up by pushing you and trying to get you to embrace the behavior of the fans, and they want to know how you feel about what the fans said to you in game 2, and what you thought about the fans, the signs the fans made in game 2, just egging it on. And all you got to do, Kyrie Irving, is play your best game, get the W, and when you get to the press conference, say, hey, look, all that is behind me, and I'm focusing on game 3. And that's it. And that will silence it. When game 3 comes, those fans, there's going to be a small percentage of fans that think, well, it worked in game 1. It just didn't work in game 2. Let's just up the antes up in game 3. But it's going to be less fans for you to worry about. That's all, Kyrie. So yes, that's all I got for today. I really do appreciate everyone coming to this live stream. Guys, rate, comment, subscribe, support the channel if you are a fan of the channel by sharing the content with your friends, family, and followers. Hit the notification bell, the like button if you want to continue support of this platform. Hit the join membership icon. I really do appreciate that. If I get members. Members are going to get bright, shiny, cool badges. I'm going to go in the lab and create even more badges for you guys to check out. I only got the original badges because, I haven't had a member. But anyways, your boy, the host of the most, I do not brag or boast. I'm coming to you live from coast to coast. It's your boy. I'll talk to you guys later. Deuces.